Let's take a quick look at some examples of how we can apply what we learned with one-point perspective to create some drawings. First, we'll look at how to create an overhead aerial view or bird's eye view of a city. I start by drawing on my horizon line in the center. In this case, it'll serve as a street. I place my vanishing point right in the middle. Just like when we were drawing our practice shapes with one-point perspective, I draw a simple flat two-dimensional shape, in this case a square. The square will serve as the top of our building, and the lines will serve as the side. The vanishing point is going to be down at the ground. I add lines that run parallel to the edge of my square to create the bottom of the building just before it gets to the road. As I add on any details like doors or windows, I remember to use my perspective lines to make sure they're lined up correctly with my one-point perspective. I don't have to stick with just squares for the top of my buildings. Here I've added one that's a circle. Adding windows to the circular building is the same as adding windows to the square or rectangular buildings. I use my vanishing point to create perspective lines and just trace along it. Continue on creating a variety of buildings in different sizes and shapes. Add whichever small details you want to both the buildings and the cities. Next, we'll take a quick look at how to create a different view of a city. This time, an eye-level view from a road. Once again, I start by placing my horizon line and my vanishing point. This time, my horizon line does actually fall right on the actual horizon. I draw lines for my sidewalks and roads, both of which continue on to the vanishing point. I create flat shapes for the sides of the building facing me. For the side of the building facing the road, the tops and bottoms run off to the vanishing point. Keep in mind, in this view, anything above the horizon line will be above or taller than the viewer. Anything below the horizon line will be lower than the viewer. Next, we'll look at how to create an interior in one-point perspective. The same basic rules will apply. I define my horizon line and place my vanishing point on it. I draw lines going away from my vanishing point in one-point perspective where my walls will meet my ceilings and floor. I start working in details and furniture. Here you can see me adding in lockers on the wall. I draw evenly placed lines on the floor, moving away from my vanishing point. I will use these to create a tile pattern on my floor that gets smaller as it moves towards the vanishing point. I do the same basic idea on the ceiling, but just one strip of tiling. These will be fluorescent lights. To the wall on the right, I add a few rectangles. After adding some details, they easily turn into doors. The top and bottom lines of the doors continue on to the vanishing point. Using these simple steps and rules, you can easily create any kind of interior or exterior scene in 1-point perspective.